This is Trots Talk, a special edition on SENZ with Mick Guerin and Greg O'Connor, bringing you the live barrier draw for the race by Grins.
Good evening, welcome to a very special event here at SENZ. It is the barrier draw and a preview show for the race by Grins, the second ever harness slot race here in New Zealand, worth $1 million. The brainchild of the Waikato Bay of Plenty Harness Racing Club, David Branch, has been instrumental in getting this off the ground, and we have an amazing field, an even field, a field with the defending champion, a field with two separate New Zealand Cup winners, Auckland Cup winners, an Oaks winner, and we have two of our friends and rivals from Australia here, courtesy of Jeff Tubbs and Greg Sugars. This barrier draw is going to be crucial, but first, to those who have invested in the race and invested in New Zealand harness racing, our slot holders, we thank you for the time and the effort and the investment in making our industry better. To everybody involved from the club and all the work they do, we thank them. Friday night is going to be special. We'll talk later to David Branch about that, and to the 11 horses who will be drawn or in the race. We do have a one emergency. We say to their connections, we know it is a hell of a battle to get this far. Good luck over the next half an hour, and good luck for Friday night. This first part of the show is not about entertainment. It is about getting things done the official way. Greg O'Connor's in our Christchurch studio. We'll say hello to him, and then I will explain to you what happens next around the country, and also to our friends in Australia joining us on the stream. Thank you for joining us here, 6 o'clock New Zealand time on Easter Monday. Greg O'Connor, almost time for the talk about barriers to be over, to get down to business. And then, of course, the second version of the talk will start heading into Friday, because these barriers will not only determine the market, they might determine the outcome of the race. If you think that's a bad thing, don't forget this time last year, the horses who were last and second last with the lap to go, Gregory, ran first and second.
Yeah, very good evening to you, Michael. It's an important part of the race by Grins for 2023, no question about that. But it's probably most significant for one horse for mine, and that is the dual IRT New Zealand Cup winner in Copy That. Where he draws will shape this market, because Self-Assured's been good enough to win already the race by Grins from Barrier 8, and of course he won the Flying Mile last Thursday from the same marble. If Copy That draws 2 to say 6, and Self-Assured is either outside him or on the second row, we'll know who'll start favourite as a result of that. I've got Matthew Peden with me in the studio. Post the barrier, he will, as close as he possibly can, reshape the market for us, which will be out officially at 8 o'clock tonight, Michael. So a lot of interest. Post the barrier, we hope to speak to some of the key connections. Obviously, Mark Purden, who has 3 runners in the race, is one of the most important.
We'll talk to those connections in the second half of this 1 hour show. Here is how the barrier draw will work. 11 horses will be drawn as part of the field. One of those, though, will not need to be drawn. No matter what, the New Zealand Oaks winner, as a mare and with no 3-year-olds in the race, is guaranteed barrier 1. So we will not be drawing barrier 1. Mike Clement is the head of the Racing Integrity Board in New Zealand. He is the only person, if you're watching this on the visual stream, who has been allowed to touch the trophies you see in front of you. So each one of those placards has on it a letter, and each letter is available to be chosen by the people who are in charge of drawing for each horse. What happens next is this. Mike also now has 10 names at his disposal. He can't see those names. He will draw a name. From the moment we start to ring the connections of that horse, and we have them listed here, they have all been notified. From the time we ring them, they have 1 minute to answer. They will join us on air, and they will pick a letter. David Branch will pick that letter for them, that trophy, that placard, raise it, and the barrier will be under that, and that will be their barrier. Mike, just to confirm for people at home, the letters are in alphabetical order. So A up to
Okay.
A
Yeah,
up.
we'll tip A over when you're happy.
Okay, so the A is to go down. So A is unavailable. So for those who are playing along at home, if you are able to select, A is gone, that is barrier 1. The numbers do not match up in sequential order with the alphabet. So C is not going to automatically be barrier 3. It may be, but it's not automatically that way. Mike has made it very random. So for those who are listening at home, you need to choose a letter between B and K, which is going to have a barrier draw underneath it, and that will be your barrier draw. As mentioned in the studio here on the stream, nobody has seen under these trophies and placards apart from Mike, and therefore no one can possibly know what is going on underneath them. Mike seems pretty trustworthy. He used to be the Commissioner for Police, so he should know what he's doing. All right, Mike, if we can please ask you to pass the first horse to be drawn, because barrier 1 is gone, for the race by Grins. Good luck to all the connections. The first horse is one of the Australians, Better Eclipse. So we'll get Ruben, our producer, to ring the team who are behind Better Eclipse. Now, Philip Kennard he chose one of the earliest horses, did Philip Kennard, for Better Eclipse. He is part of the Kennard Bloodstock Limited slot, and Better Eclipse to be trained by Jess Tubbs, to be driven by her husband, Greg Sugars. Big day for them. They were announced today to be heading to the Elite Loppet, the famous trotting race in May in Sweden. So they've had a huge day. Phil Kennard runs the slot to all of our slot holders. Philip, are you there? Good evening, and I hope you've had a good Easter.
Had a great Easter, thanks, Mick.
Mate, thank you for your support. Congratulations on bringing across a very good horse, and you are the first of our slot holders to get to draw a horse. You have letters at your disposal, letters from B to K. So you choose the first one, and that will be turned over by Mike Clement, and that will be the barrier draw for your horse, Better Eclipse.
That puts a bit of pressure on when I've got the whole field to choose from. I'll go K.
K, please, Mike, and that is... Philip, you got barrier 7. It's not a disaster. Barrier 7 for you. And for Better Eclipse, mate, we wish you and the connections of your slot, and of course the connections of Better Eclipse, good luck for Friday night. We'll see you at Cambridge.
Thanks, Mick.
The next horse out for Mike Clement, our official representative of the Racing Integrity Board, is our emergency, Smithy's Terror. Now, Smithy's Terror is drawn in the field. So it will be drawn in the field. It could get any of the barriers still available. So far gone are barriers 1 and 7. And Smithy's Terror is the emergency, so it doesn't have an actual slot holder. Robert Dunn, the trainer, is going to be on the phone. Robert has also had a big weekend because Robert was a part owner of Penny Wicker. Yes, the galloper who won the ATC Oaks, Robert and the syndicate for that horse. Just on this note, if we do not able to get hold of people, Robert, for example, may be coming back from Sydney. They have 1 minute from the time our phone box starts to tick. That is official. It is in front of my eyes. I can see it. If during that minute we are not able to get them, David Branch, who has not touched these trophies, has not seen underneath them, and is therefore an unbiased spectator on this like everybody else, will choose on their behalf. Robert, you are there, first of all. Congratulations. I believe you're a part owner of Penny Wicker.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. We're just on our way home from the airport now, actually, but that was a major thrill and a fantastic run by her.
Well, mate, I'm sure you're, shall we say, dehydrated after your weekend in Sydney. Congratulations on getting Smithy's Terror as our potential runner, our emergency in the race by Grins. You have at your disposal letters of the alphabet from B up until J. So far, A and K are gone. So, Robert, you could always choose D, I suppose, D for done, but it's up to you. What letter do you want for Smithy's Terror?
I'll go J.
J, please. J, please, Mike, for Smithy's Terror. Our emergency will start. Oh, now that's interesting. Robert, you've got barrier 2 if you make it into the race. So Smithy's Terror, barrier 2. Mate, get home safe, and congratulations once again on an amazing cross-code weekend. Now that is interesting because Smithy's Terror is into the race at barrier 2. If he doesn't start, that means the front line for the race by Grins will be 7 and 3 off the second line. If the emergency does not get in, let's get the next horse. So Smithy's Terror, the emergency. Next horse out is Akuta for Cullen Breeding Limited. Was equal favourite. That was each of 4 at $4. Matt Peden, who's going to join us in the second half of the show, said to me, I can't work it out. after the Cambridge Flying Mile? I can't work it out. 4 each of 4. There has been a slight drift since. Akuta has been taken by the Cullen Breeding Limited Syndicate. Of course, they also own Akuta. That is Ian Dobson. Lynn Dobson, his daughter, will be on the phone with us shortly. And once Lynn joins us, she gets to choose from the remaining letters. So far, everybody's been very good. A, J and K have gone. There's no gaps in the middle. Lynn, good evening. I hope you've had a lovely Easter. You can choose from the letters from B up to what comes before J, boys? I. Lynn, you've got B. You've got B to I.
Thank you, Michael. I will choose I for Ian.
I for Ian. Okay, I for Ian it is.
Yeah, Ian Dobson.
Yep, Ian Dobson. And I is, it looks a lot like 2 I's. It looks like 11. You've got barrier 11 at this stage. Lynn.
Oh, that's not what I wanted, really.
Well, it could be, or it will be 3 on the second line, but that depends on what happens with Smithy's Terror and whether an emergency gets into the field. Please say hello to Ian for us. Thank him for his support.
Well,
we look forward to seeing the family, the Green Army, at Cambridge on Friday night.
Thank you.
That's Lynn Dobson.
Thank you.
Barrier
We'll be
11,
there.
so Akuta gets a second line. David Branch, who is that next? 888, the second of our Australians, and what a fantastic horse he's been. The prodigal son of Northern Harness Racing returns, taken by the Honey Bros Syndicate. Shannon Nixon, his owner, will be on the phone shortly. Shannon last week had the enormous success through Nixon Bloodstock of selling Australia's most expensive ever standard bred yearling, $270,000 for the colt by Captain Treacherous out of Carla's Pixel. Massive investment in racing by the Nixon Bloodstock people, their syndicate, and this horse partially owned by the pacing Priest, who hopefully can make it to Cambridge on Friday. So a Trans-Tasman horse to be driven by the most successful driver in Australian racing history in Chris Alford. So Chris Alford coming across to drive Aldebaran Zeus in the trot. He will partner 888. Now, we are trying to get hold of Shannon. We're going to give him maybe 10 or 20 seconds more because obviously we're dialing into Australia, but he's good to go. Shannon, it's Michael here. Congratulations on getting into the race. Congratulations on your $270,000 yearling last week. Well deserved for you. What is in front of us in our Auckland studio now are the letters B, and I'm going to confirm it with Mike, B to H. So, Shannon,
Yep.
You're pretty good. You're a pretty smart bloke. You run your own business. I'm sure you know how the alphabet works. You are about to choose the barrier draw for 888.
Thanks, Mick. I'm going to stick with the pattern and I'm going to go H.
You're going to go H. Everybody's... Okay, the alphabet's going backwards here. Okay, barrier 5, Shannon. Barrier 5, which could well become barrier 4. Happy enough with that?
Yep, good as any for him.
Are you bringing any of the Nixon tribe over to Cambridge?
Yeah, there's a crew of us, probably about 7 will make our way, and really looking forward to it because we wanted to be a part of this since it was conceived. So, yeah, very excited to be seeing the fruits of the club's efforts.
Oh, mate, it's fantastic to hear. Is the pacing Priest coming?
He is. Yeah,
Father Brian
he'll
Glasheen?
be first there. Yes, he is.
Wonderful. We could always do with some help, Shannon. Congratulations on getting a horse into the race, mate. We look forward to seeing you on Friday night.
Thanks, Mick. Bye-bye, mate.
Okay, David Branch tells me Self-Assured is next. Self-Assured. Defending champion, came from last to win the race by Grins. Last week he came from last to win the Cambridge Flying Mile. Do barrier draws matter to Self-Assured? Well, we're going to find out very shortly. He is a wonderful horse taken by, believe it or not, SENZ. We've got the trophy here from last year. It's kind of cool. Sometimes we play with it in the studio. Jean Feast is in Victoria, the woman who owns the largest collection of teddy bears in Australian harness racing. No, I'm not making that up. She actually has an enormous array of teddy bears. She actually has a 7-foot-high teddy bear. She's going to join us shortly, and she'll confirm that's true. And she's also going to draw the barrier for her beloved Jimmy. That is the stable name for Self-Assured. Enormous investor in New Zealand harness racing is Jean, of course, trained by Mark and Nathan Purden. And Natalie Rasmussen, who's had a handful of drives this season, will partner Self-Assured. Jean, it's nice to talk to you again. I hope you had a nice Easter. I've been telling our listeners and our viewers on the stream that you have a 7-foot teddy bear. Is that correct?
I've got 4.
You got 4 7-foot teddy bears?
6 foot they are, Mick.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
4
sorry.
of them.
Well, Jean, you're only about 4 foot, so they must seem very tall to you. Well, we'll get into the teddy bears another time.
They are.
Jean, you've got letters B.
You're in a room with about 100 other teddy bears.
Okay, so Miss Teddy Bears Victoria, Jean Feast, who owns Self-Assured, who's racing for SENZ slot. Jean, you have the letters B to G at your disposal. Yes. B to G, there's no gaps in between. What letter would you like our Racing Integrity Board boss, Mike Clement, to turn over for you, please?
Fingers crossed, E.
E, please, Mike. E, the defending champion. E? Did you say E, Jean?
E for egg.
Okay,
yeah.
E it was. Jean? E's got a 10 on the bottom of it.
Yep.
Jimmy goes from 2 on the second line. 2 on the second line for Self-Assured, who last year won from Barrier 8, from the Cambridge Mile, won from Barrier 8. It may not change his chances. It might change the market. Jean, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We'll see you at Cambridge, because I absolutely know you'll be there. That's Jean Feast. Next out is... Okay, 2-time IRT New Zealand Cup winner. Copy that. Ballarat Cup winner. Copy that. And he is potentially, because there's only one second line barrier left here, potentially going to draw the front line. But maybe he won't. Richard Cole from IRT, part of this wonderful syndicate, Summit Bloodstock, Aaron Bain Racing, Richard Cole, Glenn Holland, Stephen Hunt and Trevor Casey. Thank you, fellas and ladies, for your support of this wonderful concept. You have copied that. Richard Cole from IRT will be on the phone. He'll be there. He'll be one of the best dressed people at Cambridge too. He loves going to the races. Big Rich, how are you, brother?
Michael, very well. Happy Easter.
Like, same to you too. I've stayed off the Easter eggs, Richard, and I'm staying off the drink this week. It's a serious week. We're not going to do anything silly till after Friday night. Now, your chance. Don't do anything silly here. You have to draw for copy that. The barriers at your the letters, because the letters are associated, is B, C, D, F and G. B, C, D, F and G are left for you. Richard, over to you.
Michael, let's go for B.
Richard has chosen letter B. Letter B is Barrier 4 for copy that. Barrier 4 for copy that.
Happy.
You sound happy, Rich. We'll see. You're always happy. Mate, that's what happens when you run your own business and you're married to a beautiful girl. We'll see you at Cambridge on Friday night. Copy that has got Barrier 4 in the race by Grins. Smithy's Terror's got Barrier 2. He's the emergency. So there's a very good chance copy that may start from Barrier 3. And at this stage, Self-Assured and Akuta start from the second line. But guess what? Akuta could well be following copy that out. BD Joe. He's the horse taken by the Aussie Lads Syndicate. Now, they had another horse signed up, did Aussie Lads. Steve Stockman, the owner, is going to join us. They're a very progressive unit. They're about to become a far bigger unit in New Zealand racing, one would suggest, because Aussie Lads do have links to Entain, who, of course, are the preferred partner for the New Zealand TAB and the strategic partnering. So we welcome Entain and Ladbrokes to New Zealand racing at many levels. And Steve Stockman is one of the biggest investors in New Zealand racing. He is also one of the owners of BD Joe. And Steve is with us. Steve, BD Joe, you have 4 letters to choose from, my friend. I hope you had a wonderful Easter. We have a C, a D, and an F and a G. So, Steve, C, D, F, and G. If we could please have your selection, mate.
It's got to be D, doesn't it, Mick? BD?
BD, a D it is. Mike Clement, we'll turn over D, and we have Barrier 6, Steve, which could become Barrier 5. That's not too bad. You happy enough with that?
Not too bad, no.
Steve?
Between the 2 horses that are staying with us.
Mate, thank you for the massive investment you and Jill and obviously your trainer Steve are making in New Zealand harness racing, mate. We look forward to seeing you down there at Cambridge on Friday night.
Good on you, Mick.
BD
Well
Joe,
done.
of course, where he won the jewels. One of the locals, Nicholas Cage. Don't they love a local in the Waikato? They just don't like anybody else. They love everybody who's from the Waikato, so they love that sort of stuff. He's been taken by a real Waikato institution. That's Barrett Homes. They're a huge part of this race. They're a huge part, Grant Inan, of harness racing in Waikato. We'll get him on the phone. Trained by Andrew and Lynn Neal. And he won his way into the race a couple of starts ago. He was very, very quick and very slippery around Alexandra Park. On that occasion, he beat Akuta. And he beat Copy that. He has blazing gate speed. If he gets one of the two draws left on the front line, then Grant, he could be a factor early doors. Grant, thank you, mate. Like everybody, we thank you for your support. You in particular do so much for harness racing in the Waikato region. You have the letters still left to draw. C,
Yep.
C, F or G. So over to you, Grant, for the barrier draw for Nicolas Cage.
Okay, well, under pressure. I'll try G for Grant.
G for Grant. Makes some sort of sense.
Yes,
Under G for Grant. Is Grant... It's not a disaster. You've got barrier 9. Barrier 9 for Nicolas Cage. Grant, we look forward we look forward to seeing you and your mates down there and the family, of course, on your home track on Friday night. That's Nicolas Cage, one of the second line following out No Matter What. Old Town Road. Okay. Old Town Road is next up. For those playing along at home, I know some of you listening on the radio, you can't see this. There's only 2 barriers to go. 2 barriers left. Barrier 3 and Barrier 8. I hope that's right, because if it's not, we've stuffed it up. Okay, 2 barriers to go. Old Town Road was the first horse taken. The first horse taken for the race by Grins by Hydroflow. Ken Brecken, who lives about 800 metres from our studio here, but we did let him come in. He wanted to come in and look at the trophies. I said, no, you can't, Ken. You have to stay up there in your rich palace, and you're going to ring you from Hydroflow, and you get to choose the barrier for Old Town Road. Now, if you don't know Ken's wife, Karen, he's about to draw barrier 3 or barrier 8, and Karen is going to give him an awfully hard time if he comes up with barrier 8. Kenneth, how are you?
Michael had a great Easter. I was in the same position last year.
Okay.
Thank him. 2 to go, and here we go, rocking and rolling, mate.
You have to choose from, Kenneth, barrier letters C and letters F. Letters C and F. If you get barrier 3, everybody will love you. If you get barrier 8, less people will love you. What's the decision, Kenneth? C or F for you?
Well, Michael, I told Michael I'm terrific. Terrific.
So what letter would you like, Ken? A C or an F?
Well, I'll tell you what, F for Freddie.
F for Freddie. I don't know who Freddie is, but F it is. Old Town Road has barrier 3. Barrier 3 for Old Town Road, which there's a bit of hooping going on in the background there. Ken, you've done well. That'll keep you in the good books there with Karen, and you could be starting from barrier 2. Well done, mate. Thanks for taking our call. Congratulations on having a horse in the race by Grins. We'll see you on Friday.
Right, mate. Champion.
If all's gone well here, we should have a draw for Kango. If it hasn't, well, this could be the last time I'm on radio for quite some time. Okay, Dunstan Horse Feeds. Great guys, David Smith and the team from Dunstan. They are champion guys. He's got a bunch of other good people behind him down there in the Waikato. Anna Donnelly is the trainer, one of the local stars, the leading trainer in Cambridge, and an outstanding force in New Zealand harness racing. We're getting Anna on the phone. This is pretty much, we hope, just a case of turning over the right letter and getting barrier 8 for Kango. But it hasn't been an easy case for Anna to get this far in her career. Massive job she's done, a lot of times with cast-off horses, other times with cheap yearlings, and now she has a horse in a home track race. Anna, as much as I didn't want you to get barrier 8, I sort of now hope you do, because otherwise we have to do the barrier draw again. It must be great, though, and exciting to have a horse in your hometown race for $1 million.
Oh, absolutely, Mick. But yeah, a bit of a shame we're drawn out there, but is what it is. Happened in the New Zealand Cup. We didn't get to pick, and same here. So, yeah.
Well,
probably,
Arnold, the bad news is
but anyway,
Mike Clements just turned over barrier the letter C for you, and it is barrier 8, which means the draws are now finalised. Arnold, congratulations. It's been a remarkable last 3 years for you, to you, and David Butcher, the driver, and of course the Dunstan Horse Feeds people, David Smith. We look forward to seeing you on Friday night. Thanks, Arnold. Okay.
Yep, thanks, Mick.
The barrier draw for the race by Grins. If you're watching on the stream, it's just there in front of the screen in front of you. We're about to take a break very shortly. Then we'll talk to Greg O'Connor, Matt Peden. Then we'll ring some of the people involved. And we're also going to announce the Sweepstake, because somebody who doesn't own any of these horses is going to win $50,000 on Friday night. Here's the barrier draw for the race by Grins. Number 1, automatically. She got it anyway, no matter what. Number 2 is the Emergency Smithies Terror. Number 3 is Old Town Road. All the horses I read from here to 8, 3 to 8, are going to move in 1 if nothing is scratched out of the race. Old Town Road, 3. Copy that, 4. 888, 5. BD Joe, 6. Better Eclipse, 7. Kango, 8. And that will be the outside of the front line, which more than likely will contain 7 horses. 1 on the second line is Nicholas Cage, following out No Matter What. 2 on the second line is Self Assured, more than likely following out Old Town Road. And number 3 on the second line is Akuta, more than likely following out Copy That. The 4 favourites pre-draw for the race by Grins, effectively drawing 2 and 3 on the front line and 2 and 3 on the second line. What does it all mean? Catch your breath. We'll come back on the other side of this break. Talk to Greg O'Connor, talk to Mac Peden, talk to some of the people who are going to be driving these horses and announce our sweepstake. We do thank Mike Clement from the Racing Integrity Board of taking time out of his Easter Monday to come and join us and make this all official. We'll get back to business, back to the chat, back to the sweepstake after this break here on our Trots Talk special.
You're listening to Trots Talk, a special edition on SENZ with Mick Guerin and Greg O'Connor, bringing you the live barrier draw for the race by Grins.
Yeah, welcome back to the barrier draw and the sweepstake draw, and basically a preview show of the race by Grins. If you are just joining us, we'll go through it again. Barrier 1, No Matter What. This is the $1 million slot race, Cambridge, Friday night. Barrier 1, No Matter What. Barrier 2, The Emergency, Smithy's Terror. Old Town Road, Barrier 3. Copy That, Barrier 4. 888, one of our Australian visitors, Barrier 5. BD Joe at 6. Better Eclipse, also from Victoria, Barrier 7. Kango, one of the locals, Barrier 8. Nicholas Cage, Barrier 9. Defending champion Self Assured at 10. And Akuta at Barrier 11, unlikely to start unless another horse is forced out, is Smithy's Terror, therefore a 7 and 3 configuration. David Branch is the boss of the Waikato Bay Plenty Harness Racing Club. David, you've also had a very successful sweepstake. Now, how this works is people bought a ticket for $100. They could buy more tickets. You drew those people this morning and linked them to names with Mike Clement. So this was under, first of all, the draw, police supervision, and secondly, Mike was part of linking them through an unbiased process to the names, another draw, off camera of course. So these people have drawn horses in the race by Grins. What do they get if they win?
Yeah, thanks, Mick. So first prize is $50,000 cash, so something definitely worthwhile being involved in, but even the one that draws the horse that gets 10th will walk away with $2,000 cash. So.
Okay, so we are now going to announce the people who have drawn horses in the sweepstake. As you heard from David, $50,000 to the winner, and here are the horses they are linked to, in no specific order. Akuta has been drawn by, and if I get these names wrong, they're written in pen, I wasn't part of the process. Akuta has been drawn by Sean Connolly. Congratulations, Sean. BD Joe has been drawn by Robin Barker. Better Eclipse has been drawn by Mary Turton. Copy That has been drawn, more than likely the favourite, by Wayne Keegan. So well done to Wayne. He has Copy That racing for $50,000. Kango has been driven by Bill Ewan. Nicholas Cage has been driven by Eamon O'Connor. Well done to you, Eamon. No Matter What from Barrier 1, appropriately drawn by one of our female ticket holders, Carla Codre or Cadure, one or the other. Carla, that will be on the website. I'm sure there's not that many Carlas listening to the show. Old Town Road has been drawn in the sweepstake for $50,000 first prize and great second, third and fourth prizes as well by Punters Syndicate. So obviously a syndicate have got together and had a crack. They have got Old Town Road. A well-known harness racing name has got Self Assured, Natalie Jamison. Well done to you, Nat. You've been plenty into harness racing. You've put your money on the line here. You've got Self Assured. And another Natalie, the Nats, together. Natalie Rasmussen, driving for you in the race by Grins. Smithy's Terror has not been allotted a person in the draw. If there is a scratching, that person will be on Smithy's Terror. So Smithy's Terror is not allotted a ticket holder in the sweepstake draw. And 888 has been drawn by Wayne Cumming. Good on you, Wayne. Thank you for the support. We wish you the best of luck. All of those successful ticket holders are going to get money back. One of them is going to get $50,000. On the other side of this break, because we've been so busy in here, we're going to talk to Greg O'Connor and Matt Peden. Matt's little brain will be going, he'll be trying to work out some figures. I'm not sure I should have done that. David Branch, barrier draw's interesting. First impressions, unbiasedly from the boss, it's pretty hard not to come to the same conclusions most people, including Matt Peden and the boys, are going to come to, which is that Old Town Road and Copy that had the best draws of the favoured runners, but Self-Assured and Akuta all of a sudden become the hunters rather than the hunted.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting listening to you and Greg yesterday, and I think Mark Purden said, 2 or 3 the second row wouldn't be the worst, and that's exactly where they've landed. So, I know there'll be some people that'll be really happy. Obviously, there'll be some that'll be disappointed, but I guess that's the way barrier draws work, right?
Friday night, if people want to go to the race by Grins, I know you've sold 3,000 tickets, which is a lot of people at Cambridge, and it's the best viewing harness racing track, as good as I've ever seen, maybe of Harold Park in the old days, but it's now gone. So if they want to go, what does it cost and how do they go?
Yeah, so we're on to third release tickets now. So tickets are $50, include a can of Grins, racebook, everything that you need when you come through the gate. There is a chance we might sell out. We might be closing the gates and not having gate sales. So would recommend.
So what do you close at?
5,000.
Okay. So now, say someone want to take their kids. Obviously, their kids can't have a can of Grins. So what say you want to take your 14-year-old? What happens there?
Yeah, so there's a discounted children's price, and they just get the racebook and don't get the can of Grins on the way in.
Probably a pretty good idea, really.
Yeah.
You're looking forward to it?
Yeah. This is a bit of a milestone. So after this, we can start getting into the final preparations. But everything's coming together. Got a great team. Most of them have come up tonight to be part of this, which is pretty special. So I'm sure we'll all be breathing a sigh of relief when it's over. But it's going really well.
What's the weather forecast like? I know you would have checked.
Yeah. So it was really bad. Now it's just showers. And the little sun emojis come out, so we're pretty happy with that. We'll take that.
Did you just say a little sun emoji came out?
Yeah.
God, that's what we've come to. Let's be honest. Look out the window on Friday. If you've got a ticket, go along. There's plenty of places you can go inside there, and it's going to be a big party afterwards. Mitch James is playing. Producer dude Robbie, who's my producer, or actually Greg O'Connor's producer too. I don't actually own the guy. He's excited about Mitch James. I actually watched Mitch James on YouTube. He's actually really good. So the barrier draws are out. We're going to try and get those odds for you, or an indication of odds, and talk to a couple of the trainers after this break, because we've been super busy here. We'll bounce out of this, come back on the other side. You're with the Race by Grins preview show, barrier draw show, sweepstake thingy show here on SENZ. And by the way, SENZ's got the defending champion. Will we still have the trophy this time next week? Don't know. Self-Assured's got barrier 2 on the second line. Let's find out what Greg and Matt think after this break.
You're listening to Trots Talk, a special edition on SENZ with Mick Guerin and Greg O'Connor, bringing you the live barrier draw for the Race by Grins.
Okay, we're back here in the closing 2 segments of the Race by Grins barrier draw, which has now become the Race by Grins preview show. Before we get to Greg O'Connor and Matt Peden, the all-time great Mark Purden is on the phone. Mark, good evening. First impressions, you've got barriers 1, 10 and 11. Well, you're usually getting barrier 1. What do you make of Self-Assured 2 on the second line?
Yeah, well, it's, copy that, and Old Town Road probably got the advantage where they have drawn, but you get to sort of follow them through if the ballot comes out, and maybe they'll take a handy position. So it is what it is, Mick. It's a starting point, but it could have worked out better, but that's the way it goes.
Mark, we often hear about horses potentially following horses through. How easy is it to do that? Because if you're on the back of Old Town Road, can you hunt a horse up into that gap and actually follow through? Or does sometimes the horse just go, I don't really want to do that?
I think in these situations, a big race like this, you want to have them ready to be on that horse's back and follow him through as best you can. Anyway, he might necessarily keep up, but it might be the difference in sort of being 4th or 5th in the running line and instead of being out the back.
What about Big Akuta? How much improvement has he taken from last Thursday? And he's following at Copy That. Now, if he chases through on the back of Copy That, that could leave him in a weird position, Mark.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think Old Town Road will be trying to cross the one horse, and if that happens, probably the best place to be will be on Self-Assured's back.
Okay. No matter what, Barrier 1, does she have the potential to have the gate speed to hold any of these horses? Or is it a case that being first time in the big leagues, you would like to see her getting off the gate, having a smooth first 200 and potentially, only talking potentially, she might be 3 back on the fence behind Copy That in Old Town Road, which wouldn't be a disaster, Mark.
No, it's probably the best spot she could be in, actually, Mick, I think. And, this is a different league, so it's a little bit of the unknown with her. But, she's there and she'll take a place and do her best. But whether she's up to them or not, we don't really know.
Thank you, Mark. We appreciate all the time you give us on Trots Talk. See you at Cambridge on Friday, although I'll see you tomorrow morning for our box seat interviews as well.
Good. Look forward to it.
Mark Purdon, as we head to Greg O'Connor, the man who's in charge of the box seat. Mark Purdon will be part of our 1 hour preview show available on YouTube on Wednesday. Greg, I think most people got to come to the same conclusions here. Old Town Road and Copy That, the initial winners in the barrier draw. Self-Assured and Akuta are now going to start needing a bit of help from Lady Luck.
Yeah, they certainly are, Michael, but as we discussed pre-barrier draw, the most crucial draw was that of Copy That's, and he's come up with the perfect marble. We saw him balance up last time when Kango went past him at the start and he just powered up and got the lead. I can see a similar scenario with Old Town Road, but I don't think Self-Assured's a big loser here. I don't think that he is going to be more than 3 lengths off them for the entire race without having to do any work. And a Self-Assured in that situation, Matthew Peden, is a very hard horse to beat. I'll come to you now for your initial reaction, plus where you think the market might sit, because pre-barrier draw it was 360 for Copy That. Where do you think he'll sit now?
Greg, I think he's got to be somewhere near that even money mark now, whether or not he gets to 240, 250, and just keeping in mind there's 3 of us that will price it, so there could be 3 different opinions. But he's definitely going to be in that sort of even money to 250 range on opening. The interesting run is Old Town Road, because you'd think that he's going to have a crack at getting across no matter what and then trailing Blair. So just from that position, he's the one that's probably the other big winner, 350, 380 potentially. Some percentage has got to come out of the market. Self-Assured, I don't think, like in the same frame of mind that you do, that he's a big loser from that draw, but I think the percentage in the market will come out of Akuta, and he might get to that sort of $7, $8, $9 mark.
Boys, we're going to try and get hold of Zachary Butcher after this break. He likes to cook. He's a massive cooker, Zachary Butcher. Loves the barbecue. So if he's not barbecuing and he's near his phone, we'll talk to him after this break and we'll ask him if he thinks he can lead. We'll ask him if he's going to stay there. I know he's not going to tell us, but we're going to ask him anyway. This is the Trots Talk, the Race by Grins barrier draw preview show hype session. It's going on here. We love a bit of this. After this break, we're going to wrap up the show and talk about how you can join us either on air or on track at Cambridge on Friday night.
You're listening to Trots Talk, a special edition on SENZ with Mick Guerin and Greg O'Connor, bringing you the live barrier draw for the Race by Grins.
Welcome back to the barrier draw. In case you're just joining us, here's the barrier draw for the $1 million Race by Grins. I'll do it quick. No matter what, Barrier 1, Smithy's Terror, Emergency Barrier 2, Old Town Road 3, Copy That 4, Triple 8 5, BD Joe 6, Bitter Eclipse 7, Kango 8, that is the front line, which will become 7 if Smithy's Terror comes out. Nicholas Cage 1 on the second line, Self-Assured defending champion 2, and Akuta 3. Zachary Butcher has taken time away from his incessant barbecuing at night to talk to us. Zachary, you're on Old Town Road. You're more than likely going to start from Barrier 2. If you tell me what you're going to do, I won't tell anybody.
Grego actually messaged me before the barrier draw came out and said we'll just get a few words after, and I messaged back, nothing for the press, Grego.
Barrier 2, Barrier 3, which could become Barrier 2. I know you're not going to give your tactics away, but you must be pretty happy with that because you couldn't get Barrier 1. I thought Barrier 2 might have been your next best chance.
Well, 100%. Mick, you've got to sort of look at it. It makes our job 100% a lot easier. It was nail-biting stuff. I was actually watching it at home on my phone, and it come down to 3 or 8, and I was really hoping not to get 8 because that was going to make our job very difficult. We didn't get it. I messaged Ken straight after and said, you are the man. And, it's all happy days really in this camp.
Do you think he'll improve on last week? Because he really sweated up before the start last week.
I 100% think he will. I know that John sort of had a plan throughout to have him peaking for this race, and the way he went last week, it sort of gave me that feel like he was definitely going to get better with it. Don't get me wrong, he bounced out of it pretty well, but he had a good blow after, and around the bend I thought I was a half a chance to get him in a scare, and he just blew out halfway down the straight. So I think what you'll see come Friday is a sharper Old Town Road.
Okay, I'm going to ask this, and I know you're more than likely not to answer it, but we've known each other a long time. Let's roll the dice. If you lead on Old Town Road after 200 metres in the race by Grins, what are you going to do next? Hand up to copy that or stay in front?
Great. Sorry, Mick. The funny thing is I've had about 6 or 7 people message me since that draw come out asking me exactly what I'm going to do, and they all got the same answer. You'll have to find out.
I'll look forward to finding out. I'll get back to the barbecue, Zachary. Barbecuing tonight, or you making something else?
Yeah, no, I put a couple of lamb chops on the barbie. I just finished cooking them before the draw come out, and they smell delicious. They're probably getting cold now because I haven't eaten them.
Okay.
A little broccolini and a side to finish off. So we're happy days.
You going to stay in front on the race by Grins? Just thought I'd ask again.
Again. Nothing for the press. It's going to be an exciting race, team. That's why we're all in this game. I can't wait till Friday because I tell you what, she's going to be a real go.
It is going to be a real go. Greg O'Connor, what do we make of that? Minus the chop part. What do you make of the rest of it?
It'll be a great race, and I'm looking forward to being part of it. But he'll definitely get across no matter what. I think he'll take the trail behind Copy That. What's going to be interesting is the price, Matthew Peden, around Old Town Road. I'm thinking what you said before about 380 will probably be about right, but I'm hoping Self Assured gets the drifts, because if he does, I think there might be a few people come for him.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get the $11 that we got last week about Self Assured, but it's a hard one because you've got that profile of Natalie and All Stars, and it's such a positive influence in the market. So it's really tricky to try and predict where he's going to start, but I don't know he'll get too far past 6.
Michael, there's some other features on the night, and Matt was just telling me all of those will be out by 10 a.m. on Wednesday. So there's the Trotters Flying Mile as well, so they'll all be out by 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
Boys, beauty, I'll see you during the week. I'll see you Friday night. I'll see you sometimes otherwise. By the way, YouTube and Trackside will have the Race by Grins official preview show from us, from the box seat. That'll be on Wednesday, available for you. David Branch, one more time. You run this thing. How do people get to go to the Race by Grins? Why should they go? What are they going to see?
Well, we've been marketing it as Cambridge's biggest party. So that's, unlike the Jills that had its formalities in Group 1 races, we've set this thing up to be just a big party and just a lot of fun. So,
what time do you start and what time's the big race?
Gates open 5 o'clock, big race 8:50. Mitch James will come on at 9:20, and the party's on the track after the last race.
Okay, no drinking for you, no drinking for me, no drinking for Greg O'Connor till after the race, which is about 9:05 on Friday night. Get to Cambridge, join us for the box seat preview show. All the information, we're going to live radio there from SENZ. The Race by Grins, self-assured, can he defend his title? Well, there's only one way you're going to find out. Thanks for joining us on Easter Monday.